We now turn our attention to boxing, the upcoming unification fight at cruiserweight, coming up on the 10th of November 2018. Tony Bellew versus Oleksandr Usyk. It's being held at the Manchester Arena. The IBF cruiserweight titles on the line, the WBA Super World Cruiserweight titles on the line, WBC World Cruiserweight titles on the line, WBO World Cruiserweight titles on the line. As you can hear from that list of titles, it's a huge fight. Justifiable pay-per-view. It'll be very interesting. We've got Tony Bellew coming off his 2 victories over David Haye. We've got Oleksandr Usyk coming off a successful victory against Murat Gassiev. He's also beaten Maris Bradis this year. He also beat Marco Huck at the end of 2017. So these names are highly regarded names in the cruiserweight division. He won the World Boxing Super Series in some style. And if you look back in his record, there's still other names that we know. Krzysztof Glowacki, tremendous fighter. Fabricio Machuno is a good fighter. He got past him as well at the end of 2016. So he's got great names on his record. He's proven his pedigree. And justifiably he's thought of as the top man in the division. Then on the other side we've got Tony Bellew, coming off the 2 victories against Haye, beat BJ Flores in October 2016, won his cruiserweight title, defeating Ilunga Makabu in May 2016 at Goodison Park, at his football team's home ground. So when you look at those 2 recent records, you know, Usyk has definitely been in against harder competition. Bellew did extremely well to beat David Haye. First fight, we have to talk about Haye picking up that injury where he wasn't able to move that well. Bellew was able to dispatch him in the end. And in the second fight, it looked as though David Haye had it basically and was shot. But Bellew still dispatched him. I don't want to take too much away from Bellew, but we have to say the first fight, Haye had an injury. Second fight, Haye just really wasn't himself. Like, he must have known. Even looking back at it, his footwork wasn't the same. He didn't move the same. His punches didn't have the same snap. I think Haye must have known that he wasn't at the level that he used to be, but he kind of went along with it. There was a lot of money on the line. There was big purses coming out for Bellew and Haye in taking the rematch, and I think he just, he went along, sold us the story that he thought he was in the best shape he ever has been. But it didn't look that way, and Bellew got rid of him. And now Bellew's got to step in with Usyk. It's a huge challenge for Bellew, and that is shown by the odds. We've got the best price available on Usyk, 2-11. There's a lot of 1-7s around. There's the odd 1-6, but 2-11 is the best price around. The draw is 33-1. Bellew best price 9-2. So Bellew at a big price, Oleksandr Usyk at a very short price. So the bookies have made their decision, and it's obvious where the money is going down. It's going down on Usyk, and it's got to a stage where it's almost not worth bothering with Usyk. I think if it ever touches 1-5, it's 2-11 at the minute, the best price. If it touches 1-5, it's worth throwing in an accumulator maybe, but it's a very short price. Bellew at 9-2, some will argue that's a value play. It's a pretty big number. He's shown that he's able to win as an underdog. He's beaten Haye twice. 9-2, it's out there. I think the prices are roughly right, to be honest. I think Usyk is a justifiable short favourite. Bellew has a chance. We're not going to write him off. He's probably the more powerful of the 2. I think Bellew's got a more powerful right hand. He'll have to be very careful in this fight that he keeps his work rate up, though. Against Haye, he was able to relax and wait for Haye to lunge in. And where Haye's footwork wasn't what it was, particularly in the second fight, Haye would lunge in or attack, and Bellew would be able to catch him on his way out. You're not going to get away with that kind of thing with Oleksandr Usyk. He's probably got, away from Vasyl Lomachenko, he's probably got the best footwork in boxing of the active fighters available now. Obviously, Mayweather had tremendous footwork, but Usyk, if you look at the way he moved around the ring at Gassiev, he's light on his feet. He's constantly moving around the ring. He's constantly hitting and moving. That way, any shots that hit him either hit his gloves or don't hit square. They glancing blows, which don't actually incur much damage on him. He's constantly moving. It's very difficult to land square on him. When he fought Gassiev, that was a very dangerous fight. Gassiev, the young lion, strong, had recently beaten Junior Dorticos, knocked out Junior Dorticos late on. Unbeaten, savage puncher. You know, Gassiev's punches would be hugely effective at heavyweight, never mind cruiserweight. But he was just not able to get anywhere near Usyk. He did land a couple of times, but as I just said, with Usyk moving around the ring, circling the ring, moving from side to side, changing levels, it's just a level of skill that is incredible for someone in his weight class. And there's talk of him going up and fighting at heavyweight after this, and I think he'd do very well at heavyweight as well. The only weakness you can mention for Usyk is his power. It's certainly not up there with the heavyweights, and even the cruiserweight division. I think Gassiev probably hits harder than Usyk. Bellew will feel as though he's got more power than Usyk. So, you know, that's really all you can clutch onto. And then the problem is, even though Usyk isn't the most powerful puncher in the world, he's got the best volume. Certainly at the weight. He's got a great volume at any weight. The amount of punches he throws, the jabs constantly flying. You know, he was constantly in the face of Gassiev. Gassiev was bewildered and overwhelmed. And that's the challenge that Bellew is going to face. Bellew is an older man than Gassiev. Gassiev is about 24. He's a young man, higher fitness levels. We've got Tony Bellew, sort of 35 now. Been in a few wars in his time, and we've got to remember he's going to be cutting weight. He's been fighting at heavyweight the last two fights, so that's going back to March 2017. That's an awful long time. We're talking about a year and a half, over a year and a half that he's been fighting at heavyweight. His diet will have been adjusted to fight at heavyweight, as in he wouldn't be, of course he'll be eating healthily, but he wouldn't be worried about his actual weight on the scales. He's actually got to make weight for this one. I think he does it reasonably comfortably. I've seen from on the social media he's been working very hard with David Coldwell, and he's a professional, Bellew, and he's putting a lot of effort into this. He knows what the challenge is, so he'll come in shape. But that whole process of watching what you're eating, cutting down at his age, that's a factor. That's something Usyk doesn't have to worry about. Usyk's been fighting at cruiserweight. He's already the best at the weight, and so that's an added disadvantage for Bellew to counteract. The key is for Bellew, he's going to have to land that right hand at some stage, and he's going to have to be busier, a lot busier than he was against Hay. Because Usyk is constantly racking up points with that jab. The jab is constantly being pumped in the face of his opponent, and he's constantly racking up points. So Bellew doesn't want to be in a situation where, you know, he's miles behind. He's going to need to at least, I think he's going to have to at least put Usyk down and win a 10-8 round. He at the best, you know, ideally he'd like to knock him out. He's going to have to knock him out, KO or TKO to win. But at the very least, he's going to need a knockdown. And I think even then, it's going to be difficult for him to win on points, because Usyk's work rate and volume is just so it's amazing. If we go back to Andre Ward's fight against Sergei Kovalev, the first fight, we had a situation where Kovalev put Ward down early on, and Ward was still able to win on points. Such was his work rate and such was his skill. And I think that's a similar situation here with Usyk and Bellew. Even if Bellew puts Usyk down, I think he will, provided he isn't knocked out, I would back him to get up and rack up enough points and fight with enough skill to still come out on top, the same way that Andre Ward did when he went down in that first fight. Bellew's going to know this. I think Bellew will be dangerous early on. He'll be looking to be aggressive early on. It's no point trying to outbox Oleksandr Usyk. I think that would be a silly strategy. I don't think it's one Bellew's going to go for. He's going to be looking to land his right hand and definitely pose power punches on Usyk and have him down. Because if he doesn't, I can't see how he wins. Usyk is a rare talent. Extensive amateur record. He's done everything that's been asked of him. He hasn't got the longest professional career, but the people that he's fought in the short time he's been a professional, it's unbelievable. We've talked about that earlier, who he's faced. He's taken on big challenges. Legends like Marco Huck, Glowacki, Gassiev, Maris Bradis is a tremendous fighter. especially at cruiserweight. He proved that. Some people thought Bradis had claims to for actually winning that fight against Usyk, but he's fought at a higher level, and he should have enough to win this. I mean, the bookies odds got to tell you something here. The thing is, when you look at the odds, we're not going to make a huge fortune betting on Usyk at 2-11, so we're going to have to work a little bit harder than that. If we look at Usyk rounds 9 to 12 on the round group betting, 3-1 is available. So Usyk to win in rounds 9 to 12, 3-1. Usyk by decision, you've got 15-8. So touching 2-1 there. That's not too bad. The way I see this going, I think Bellew will do better than expected. He's going to show a lot of heart, and he'll certainly get to the later rounds. I think he'll certainly go past round 9. It wouldn't surprise me if Bellew even went the distance. He's such a tough guy. He's got a great attitude. You've seen how he's been talking at the press conference, trying to get into the head of Usyk, trying to convince him that he's actually said he's going to try and take Usyk's soul. That's what was said at the press conference. I think he's just trying to get into Usyk's head. Usyk, coming from a Ukrainian background, those guys, they're usually very tough mentally, and it's obvious he is, because he hasn't really taken the bait at any of those press conferences. There was times where Bellew was describing Usyk as a superstar, and making out that he's a superstar. He's trying to make out that he had everything to lose, basically, and the fight should be a foregone conclusion for him. But Usyk's a professional with that amateur background, Olympic pedigree. He's going to prepare. He's not going to take Bellew lightly. His whole career from here on in is going to depend on this victory, being completely undisputed at cruiserweight, then going up to heavyweight, having a few practice fights at heavyweight, trying to get into the whole heavyweight routine, and then he'll be eyeing the likes of Joshua. And I don't know if it's true, but there's talk that he's already had words with Eddie Hearn, and there's a plan in place to fight Joshua at some point. So this is a crucial part of his career. It's a vital fight. It's a big fight. He's getting well paid. So I think he'll be up for it, and I think he'll prepare properly. I think it'll be entertaining in the sense that Usyk's fights are always entertaining from a purist point of view. That technique and footwork, that movement, that work rate. It's like the performance against Gassiev it was a work of art. And it'll be on his game again against Bellew. I think Bellew is going to give him a hard night's work, but I just can't see how Bellew wins. I think you've got to go for Usyk. If you can get that 1-5 or use the 2-11 in accumulator, I'd do so. I'm going to lean towards the Usyk win in rounds 9 to 12 at 3-1. That would be my recommendation. 3-1 is a nice odds to use. I think Bellew will go towards the end of the competition. He's always been durable. He's always had heart, and he's not going to come here and this is potentially the last fight of his career. And knowing the type of guy he is, with his mentality and his fighting spirit, he's not going to want to go out with a limp performance. But I almost feel as though there may be that situation you often get with Lomachenko, Usyk's good friend Vasyl Lomachenko. Lomachenko has made a lot of people quit. He's made a lot of people quit on their stool. Remember Walters quit on his stool. A lot of fighters, he makes them give up because there's nowhere to go. And I think that is the sort of situation Bellew may find himself in towards the end of the fight. Tiring, and also maybe feeling as though there's no chance of him picking up a points win, taking a lot of punishment, not having an answer really. It's possible that he might be worn down in the later rounds. That factor where he's cut down to cruiserweight, I think that could take its toll on his energy reserves, and we could see a stoppage for Usyk in rounds 9 to 12. So that's my recommendation. Certainly looking towards Usyk on all counts. It'll be a great event. It'll be a great fight. Certainly enjoy. Give your comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I want to hear from anyone who thinks Bellew's going to win it, because there are a lot of people going around knowing that Bellew proves everyone wrong and has done in the past. Certainly, as far as the Hay fights go, proved everyone wrong, came out with 2 victories. But I just think this is a little bit too far for him to go up against a Hall of Famer and an all-time legend like Usyk, a tactician, an in-ring tactician like Usyk. It's just going to be a little bit too much for Bellew. So we're going to side with Oleksandr Usyk on this one.